Ladies and gentlemen, the Hoop Talk crew is back earlier than anticipated. Yeah, it's not Tuesday, it's not 6 p.m., but we got some talking we want to do, man. There's some topics in the basketball world that we wanted to really get into. So tap in with us, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share with all your Hooper friends and family, the usual support. Two things we want to talk about. Number one, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard has made headlines. Steve Ballmer has joined him, and the LA Clippers are the main suspect in this entire situation. Y'all should already know. We've taken a long time to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it now. Kawhi Leonard and Steve Ballmer are into some sketchy shit, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to share my 2 cents. Who wants to go first? Give your opinion. What somebody summarize it. That's whoever wants to
So,
summarize it.
to give you an idea, there was a journalist, a sports journalist, who's pretty low actually, but he's from The Athletic, Pablo Torre, investigated
I know
a
Pablo. He's big,
yeah,
Tyler. He be on shows and shit like that. We know him.
he's big now, but he
I don't.
wasn't this big before. I
You
don't
don't
think
know
so.
Pablo? He used to be
Never.
around the horn. He was a big guest on Around the Horn.
Never heard of him.
That makes sense. I don't watch too many sports shows, so that might be right. But
Oh, okay, yeah. He was
there
really
was
big on Around the Horn. He was one of the reporters on there. My
that
bad.
makes
Go
sense.
ahead, go ahead.
There's a company called Aspiration, which pretty much what they do is they charge celebrities money to give them like PR packages, and the most common thing that they do is they'll plant trees for you at like a really high price. So on average, it's like 20 cents per tree from any other tree planting company. They charge 80 to 90%. So you already know that something crazy is going on there. Leonardo DiCaprio's been a part of it, like a few other celebrities. But what Pablo found out was Kawhi's LLC, KL2 Aspirations or KL2 Partnerships LLC, was in the filings for some reason, which is really weird. There's been no evidence of Kawhi partnering with them. There's been no commercials, no advertisements, no announcement, nothing. So they did an investigation. They found out a bunch of things. They found out starting off, Steve Ballmer paid them $28 million secretly. No announcement, nothing was ever mentioned. Put another 10 million in, put in a bit more until eventually it added up to $50 million. Kawhi Leonard's contract is 48.5 million. They were able to go through and see that he signed a no-show contract where he had to do nothing. He didn't show up for any events. He didn't speak on the company. He didn't advertise it. He literally did nothing. Leonardo DiCaprio is another example I mentioned. He did show up for Aspiration Event. There was advertisements that he was working with them. So it's really sketchy that someone as big as Leo is out in the open and we see that he's working with him and he's only making $2 million. But someone like Kawhi Leonard, probably the most quiet guy we've ever met, right? Would you say that?
Yep.
We know nothing about Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's getting paid $50 million. Isn't that kind of weird?
Sounds like some money laundering to me.
I think
I
there's
know
some
it's
money
not
laundering
money
going on.
laundering. I don't think it's money laundering. I don't know the sophisticated white collar way to say I'm paying
It's
someone, but I don't really
fraud.
know when to say it.
It is
Fraud?
fraud.
Definitely. Money laundering's fraud too, right? So technically, yeah. So I
It's
was
not
close.
I
money
mean, it
laundering
is
though.
laundering money for them.
They're not laundering money though.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
I think that you could consider money laundering because that money is being hidden to be paid out of pocket by Steve Ballmer, but it's not going directly from Steve to Kawhi. There is something in the middle that's cleaning off that money to where
Something's
you're not
being
tracing it
laundered.
back to.
But they're
I
not they're
do I
not
do think
cleaning
that's money.
it. The money that he's giving is completely legal money. He's doing something illegal with the money, so that's fraud. He's not really laundering the money for anybody.
I'm gonna look it up. I do think I've seen people call it money laundering. I'm also not a legal expert, so
Yeah, me neither.
I'm a
My
fucking
only
regular dude on a
thing
couch.
that I want to say, because I would think of myself as someone who could read a room pretty well. You know what I'm saying? I literally watch basketball all day. I have no choice but to read rooms and talk to people about basketball. So my thing is, I think it was super weird how he took the interview with ESPN and he was there like the next day. Anybody to me who's there to clear up their name as soon as something goes crazy and then blames the other entity and puts all blame on them, suspicious. Because it takes two to tango. And that was my only thing with that.
He
Like
has to though.
that's the one thing.
He has to. The penalties and
Does he have to?
the
He doesn't
penalty
have to.
the penalties and fines that he's gonna incur if this comes out 100% true is going to ruin this Clippers. It's gonna ruin the Clippers completely. He has to
Yeah.
he has to nip it in the bud immediately. If he could have done it yesterday, he would have done it. He would have gone back in time and done it yesterday.
I,
He has to.
I would
If
argue
he,
that
all
that
he had
made
to
him
do was
look
put money
worse.
into the company. By the way, the company went bankrupt, and that's the only reason that we know about this. Steve Ballmer has enough money to inject funds into that to where we never find out about anything. I think he's
That's
pretty stupid.
Yeah, he just looked guilty to me. Like in the way I'm looking at it, and then when he was like, I didn't know. Like, there's no way you didn't know where $28 million was going.
50,
I don't
50,
care
50.
how
You
rich
you
you are.
you have to
I
know.
don't
It's
care
50 million.
how billions of dollars you have. You don't misplace $28 million, like, or give it to a company without getting anything back in return. Because these are businessmen. These are guys who are entrepreneurs at the end of the day. Like, they're not just a tech guy. Like, they're entrepreneurs who built certain things. Come on,
Now
man.
let me tell
I
you
saw
something
them
else.
on the team.
There's more to this. So the contract was brought to the board at the time, and none of them wanted to do this. This was all between the CEO and Steve Ballmer himself, and it was hidden behind most of them. Majority of the staff did not know until they were going bankrupt, and a lot of them actually got they were been investigated for fraud. So that's another piece that's kind of added to that. This was completely hidden. Two other things. He tried to do this with the Lakers. Genie Bus went to the league about it
I
and
said
created a
that. I said
complaint.
that.
And he tried to do it to the Raptors, and they continued to follow up on the complaints. And that's why he never stayed with the Raptors. There's a lot. There's a trail that shows that, like, I think Steve Ballmer's a part of this. I have no doubt that he's a part of this because, like, he offered this to every other team, and they said no. And now he's on the Clippers, so obviously. But Kawhi
Yeah.
Leonard is 100%, involved in this. He's 100% making this happen and negotiating. That's what I think.
My,
Well,
my
I
biggest
heard
thing
it was his
about it.
uncle pushing him.
Oh, it's not. Sorry, guys. My biggest thing about it is, at the end of the day, I don't even think this is going to matter when it comes to Kawhi. In retrospect, when we're 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, and this entire storyline concludes finally, and we're talking about it as one of the biggest scandals in NBA history, I don't think it's gonna be about Kawhi that we're gonna be talking about. Kawhi is in a stage of his career where he's starting to reach a point where things are dwindling down for him. You know what I mean? Now, he probably still has some good years in him, but we know the injury histories. We know, the Clippers aren't doing so well. Who knows what role Kawhi is gonna play in the
Let me say
NBA?
one more thing here. You mentioned the injury history. So this conversation started back on the Spurs, where his uncle Dennis was negotiating on his behalf, and he was the one who requested the rest time. The medical staff at the Spurs said that this would just be a pain tolerance thing, and he would be able to play games throughout the season. Uncle Dennis, his advocate at the time, was the one who requested him to have that no-show contract. So the injury thing is not true, and we always talk about how Kawhi Leonard comes back and he performs very well, right? I don't think he's fully injured. I think someone's lying.
Listen, I don't
I
know. I don't
believe
know what the full.
anything.
I don't know what the full story is. I don't know what is going to be the conclusion of this, which I think it might take the whole year. It might take a couple years. Who knows how long this is going to take for them to figure out. I think what this is really going to be is we're going to uncover other players who have been doing the same thing. I think that's how it's going to go. I fully believe there's players within NBA history. It may not even be active players. It may be some active players. It may be some retired players. But I fully believe that there's players throughout the history of the NBA that have done similar things in order to make it easier to get paid these large sums of money for these large ass contracts and play for stacked teams or for teams who we talk about, oh, how do they have this money, how do they spend so much, they're over the salary cap, luxury tax this, luxury tax that, all that bullshit is it's people with money know how to use money. People, simple as that. People who have this much money, they don't have
Know
this
how to
much
move it.
money just because their businesses are successful. They have this much money because they know how to use that money wisely, smartly, and to make that money, as they say, work for them in whatever way they possibly can. I promise you, at the end of this storyline, when all this is concluded and when all this is finally done, and when now it's a story that we talk about, we are going to see other players involved in this one way or another. I just cross my fingers that it's nobody of a high caliber because I would hate to see anybody's legacy tainted because of poor decisions they made in this specific scenario.
I have one
Tyler's ready.
example. I've Mark Cuban is going to bat for Steve Ballmer a little bit too hard. We haven't seen any other owners stick up for him. Dirk Nowitzki was not getting max contracts towards the later end of his career, after 2011. I have a feeling that Mark Cuban has interest in protecting Steve Ballmer and this investigation because this could turn back at him.
You know
This
who needs
could
to be
be the next
investigated?
piece that they look at.
You know who needs to be investigated? Who hasn't been brought up? Let's think about players or team who have been making headlines for continuously taking less money to help the team pursue other free agents, pursue other roster changes. Now that you got these things being brought up, are the Knicks genuinely giving players less money to help their roster building, or
Look at
are
their
they
assistant
pulling
coach.
are they pulling strings around? Michael Bridges, so and so, gave up $6 million to help the team, use that money to build a better roster. Did he give up $6 million? I don't know, Pablo. You might want to look into them. I'm just saying, Pablo.
He is.
What's
So wait,
crazy?
Pablo is looking into the Brunson deal. That he already said that he's going to investigate.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's crazy about all this? Because this is just me. I'm gonna be in the viewer's feet, right? Because I don't have the most knowledge about this. I'm not the best when it comes to numbers. We all know that. You can see it from the first season. But I am good at reading certain things and its people and the way they're gonna move. That whole Jordan Brunson, the biggest thing that was tackled onto that conversation about him taking less money is he's going to get it in the back end. He's going to be the king of New York. But like New York's one of the biggest media capitals in the world. There's no way his podcast or the Josh Hart podcast, whatever, I'm pretty sure, I mean, maybe Paulo, you could look at that. I could see them following money in the media aspect over there because it's the capital of media of the world. Like, I could see, what I'm trying to say is I could see them signing to a business and the business magically getting money from whoever the owner of the Knicks is. And pretty much same situation. I can see that. You have Cat, you have Nickel, you have OG, and you paid OG. Like, you gave OG max money. You have Cat on, yeah. And then this all comes into the same time where the players aren't able to get as much money as they are if they're a fringe player within being like a B tier to a C tier. Those players are getting affected the most. So there's no way. There's certain players like Draymond now that I look at like he took less money, but he stayed where he
No,
was
come on.
at.
Draymond
But
sucks.
I'm just saying.
He
I'm
doesn't
just
suck,
saying.
but
Yeah,
like,
that one's a
he
little
wasn't worth the
different.
max
I
anymore.
think that's what he was worth. I think that one doesn't count. I don't think that one counts.
That one-
I think
I'll
if
give you the Jalen
I
one,
think if
but
he asked
come on.
for more money, he just wouldn't be in Golden State anymore.
Yeah.
I could agree to that, but I also can see now what you guys are saying. I think owners can go in on the back end and just make sure you're at good extra by giving you like 3 Lamborghinis that equal 2.5 million, and now you can just flip that and get your money back. Like the Heatles, there's no way the Heatles did not get paid on the back end. There's like I
Agree.
can't see that.
Pat Riley's a part of the
can't see that
mob.
now.
He's got mob money.
Yeah. OKC, if those boys get paid on the back end,
No. So here's the thing. I genuinely do not believe that this is something that we're seeing very commonly from small market teams. And one example I'll give you, Boston's a pretty big market, but when you compare them to some other markets, they are one of the smaller big markets. They do have
I would agree.
their
I'll
owner
agree.
that they just got in has less money than some other owners, and they had to make some decisions. Drew Holiday's gone, Kristaps is gone, so I don't think this is every team.
Yeah,
That's what I don't think. I will ask you one question though: who is the assistant coach of the Knicks?
Jalen Brunson's daddy.
Rick Brunson.
Rick Brunson. What does he do?
What do you
Rick
mean?
Brunson was a player in the NBA.
I don't know anything about Rick Brunson in the NBA. I don't know anything he does is coaching. I don't really see him.
Oh, he was a player. No.
I know
he was a
that,
player.
but on the sidelines, I don't really see him doing anything. He got fired from the Timberwolves for some misconduct issues. I have a feeling that he was brought into the Knicks to secure that Jalen Brunson trade, and he's given a little bit more money.
Oh yeah,
That's
of
what I
course.
think.
We all knew that though.
But I bet you he's getting paid a little bit more behind the scenes that we don't know about to keep Jalen Brunson happy.
I mean, that's possible.
We'll know this
I don't know
over
if
there.
that's as likely, but it is possible. Sure.
I'm going to
Well,
make that
I mean,
assumption. The NBA is not
now-
going to come to me. They can't attack me. I'm a
Now that
regular
we're
person.
doing hypotheticals, why was what's his face on who's on the Timberwolves beefing so hard with Rick now? if we're being, you know what I'm saying, so highly critical now and looking at certain things, why couldn't they keep the whole Philly squad? They got rid of DiVincenzo so quick. They got him up out of there. So now I think about it, he probably was mad because, bro, you could have paid me on the back end too. Like, there's certain beefs that I never got in the NBA between coaches and players that go really, really crazy. I mean, there's other things and other factors that play into that, but I can see now where money is the most important thing. I mean, it always is, but is the most important thing and does, get the bigger fishes or even the smaller fishes. But I think that's insane when you start to look at like just other people. Like I would say Dwight Howard to the Lakers. I think that's one maybe they could look at. Another one that I think about really really hard is the Boston Celtics team. That shit when you put the Kawhi cams on, I can see these motherfuckers taking less
Wait,
and getting
But with
paid
the
up
White
that
Tail
there.
Celtics one,
Lakers,
that Celtics one was trades though. I thought, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Dwight,
but
Dwight was
still,
also a trade.
Yeah,
I thought Dwight
trades
was
a
a
little
free agent.
different.
No, Dwight
Oh,
was
I thought
I thought he
Dwight
traded
got
was a
traded.
free
for
agent.
Andrew Bynum. He went to the Sixers, 3-team deal.
Yeah, I think trades are a little different, but
But they
signings
all
though
re-signed in
are.
Boston, though. They all re-signed and stayed in Boston and took less, though. That's all I'm saying there.
Yeah, which is also
Oh
understandable because they were very old.
yeah, they retired not long now. Well, Kevin did.
Yeah,
Paul Pierce retired like 20.
Kevin took a little longer to retire, yes, but but yeah, it's crazy, man. It's not even that hard of a task, honestly. I got $1 trillion in my bank account. I'm gonna donate. Well, I'm not gonna donate. I'm gonna invest $50 million in this little company, and then y'all just pay Kawhi $35 million and pocket the other 15. Boom, there you go. Y'all just made $15 million. Kawhi has
Yeah.
$35 million in his bank account, and then boom, that's how we fulfill our contract. Is
Crazy
Ballmer's not
ass.
going to notice 35 million. That's like a drop in the bucket for Ballmer. That's
Crazy
nothing.
ass
He probably
convenience
earned that
fee.
today. He probably earned that today.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a crazy world we live in, man. Listen, Pablo, I'm interested to see what you uncover. This specific scenario is not something that I would have ever anticipated because it just never crossed my mind. But just the idea of money being used in a maniacal way for teams to get their way, I've always thought that was a thing. Now, I never had examples of how they could do that because I wasn't well versed in it, but I have always thought that there was ways that teams could move their money around and adjust their financials and make things happen in order to successfully build these rosters, of high paid players and all that. I've always thought that, and I think it's interesting that we finally have someone who's dug into it and shown us a way that it's possible. Now, I think for somebody like Steve Ballmer, I do believe that he has the influence and the money to make this go away. I do believe that. Not necessarily paying somebody. I know it sounds like I'm trying to say that, but I mean just like finding a team that can make this. Just let's fuck this. Like this, figure it out, man. Let's get lawyers. Let's get media. Let's get whatever we got to do to make this go away. I do think he does, and Kawhi being in the second half of his career, in the retiring years of his career, I think that's going to play to his benefit. I think if they find other players, that's where things can really get sticky. But cross our fingers. Regardless,
That's a big image issue for the NBA, though. I know you're transitioning, but that is a big image issue for the NBA if that happens. Though.
Also,
That's like
keep
a
in mind the
huge-
Clippers are hosting the All-Star game this year.
Yeah,
That's a lot more eyes on you. So I bet that they don't figure this out until at least the end of the season. They're not going to
Yeah.
do it by February. That'd be crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, that would
you gotta
ruin
be
the whole
smart
event.
about it.
Yeah.
But we'll see, man.
If you let it sit long enough, this will be swept under the rug. At some point, people will forget about this. The news cycle. There's so much going on. Steve Ballmer, I do think he messed up by going that interview. Because I think if he just kind of didn't speak about this and kind of let the lawyers take care of this, I think like always, any situation, we would have forgot about this.
Some
There's just
company
too
in the
much going on.
Philippines about to take the blame for it. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I'm going to get put in a locker for this.
Listen, just blame the sports agent like Otani did. Simple as that.